housekeeping so that everyone's on page about participation today. And then we have a lot of introductions to get through, hopefully not too long, and we'll get right to discussing youth entrepreneurship in the creative green economy thereafter. So without further ado, I'd like to quickly mention some quick things. If you can, you are able to rename yourself. So please make sure that your full name appears when in the chats and everything. You can also separate it by a comma and include your any association or organization you are representing today. We do not have interpretation. The entire session will be run in English, but the majority of our partners, facilitators are bilingual, so they'll be there to support you if there are any gaps that we need to address. And please keep your microphones on mute, as well as your video to join today. This is quite an important session. It will go through and set up most of the next steps for this program, and will set up your journeys with us. I've just gone through a blackout at my house, so I'm on my 4G. So if you want to play it safe, please keep your mobile phones around if you're joining from a computer, and make sure that you have a 4G option in case you lose electricity. Of course, there is the recording that will be circulated after the session. The entire session is about 2 hours long. So let's get started. I would like to first invite Shahida McDougall, the Country Director of British Council, to do a welcome address.
Thank you, Nishal. Thank you, and namaste, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. Somebody just waves or gives me a thumbs up. Yep, perfect. That's great. Well, good morning and good afternoon to our friends and colleagues, and a warm welcome to our young entrepreneurs and our partners from Nepal and the UK who are joining us today for the orientation session of the British Council's In Our Own Hands program. I will start with some statistics. So according to the National Economic Census of 2018, that's the Nepal's economic census, a staggering 49.9% of businesses in Nepal operate outside the formal economy, free from government regulations or any oversight. And many of these businesses, and including some of the potentially transformative ideas, may struggle to access the resources and support needed for growth. And this is where organizations like British Council come into play. We partner and we engage with policymakers to create a conducive business environment for innovative ideas like yours, ensuring that they have the chance to blossom and contribute to Nepal's economic development. And British Council Nepal, we boast a proud legacy spanning 64 years of empowering young leaders. And throughout this time, we have been advocates for positive change, strengthening the education and cultural sectors in Nepal, and all in a pursuit of a more sustainable and equitable future for the country as well, especially as the country preparing to graduate to middle-income country soon as well. Since 2018, predominantly through our dedicated art portfolio and in collaboration with national and UK partners and supporters, we have been working to create spaces that allow young people to reinterpret Nepal's rich natural and cultural heritage. And this reinterpretation is instrumental in deepening their understanding of how they can contribute to climate solutions. And to date, we have supported over 50 ideas and 12 projects ranging from cost-effective upcycle looms to sustainable brick production using cow dung. And these initiatives and these examples just exemplify the potential for change using local knowledge and resourcing and innovation that we all passionately advocate for. And we firmly believe that young individuals like you possess the power to enact that meaningful change in the world. We're really proud to support you on this journey as you take on the challenge of addressing climate change. And over the next 5 years, you'll have the opportunity to learn from the best experts from both the UK and Nepal and refine your ideas. And I just want to conclude that we will really thank you all for your interest and participation and for joining us today, and wish you good luck with your proposals. And we're really looking forward to and exciting working with you and supporting you together and creating a brighter future for Nepal. So that's all from me. Enjoy the rest of your session, and I'll pass on back to Nishal now. Thank you.
Thank you, Saida. So I will quickly introduce our work in Nepal, the British Council's work, and this might provide additional context for everyone as to what we are here, gathered here today to achieve. So as Saida has already said, British Council has a long legacy. That legacy is both global and in country, in Nepal. So in Nepal, we were established in 1959, but 1934. So we're coming up to 90 years as an international organization across the globe next year. We specifically work in three sectors. We work in arts and culture. We work in these interconnected sector work. What we're trying to achieve is that people have good quality collections with the UK for mutual benefit, that there is, working together, we can achieve more prosperity, more development that is sustainable in Nepal. In 2022, I'm sorry, just go to the next slide. In 2022, this was what we achieved. In Nepal, we worked with more than 6.7 million people. We reached them. We worked with government, civil society actors, private sector, and people from very diverse walks of life to create lasting changes. Specifically focusing on our work in the arts, we use a culture and development approach, putting culture at the heart of development. And that's very central to this idea of the in our hands, and what we are trying to achieve with all of you is that culture and things around culture are indispensable when it comes to creating inclusive and sustainable changes. We work in the British Council with global programs. We have a number of global programs across each sector. And in Nepal, those global programs are Culture Connects and Culture Response. What we do within our hands is about responding with culture to global challenges of inclusion, of cultural heritage preservation, of climate change. So that's where we fit in. But we also have a program called Culture Connects, which is about working with the UK, especially connecting the creative sectors in both countries to realize additional gains in terms of the practice, in terms of the sector and the people involved. And what that means working with the global program is that it's a mix of Nepal and UK-led offers. We also have regional offers. We operate as south part of South Asia, quite an important region for the UK. So that's the mix of those offers create a very holistic campaign to enable more youth, more women to participate in society more meaningfully and benefit from social outcomes. Moving on, I just wanted to cover how we decide on what we work on. And that's quite important because we need to know what we're trying to achieve, and we need a strong foundation. So the British Council, both as a global leader in the creative economy, as well as in cultural heritage preservation and other development work, we're rightly suited to develop a lot of evidence. So we have done that. So some of these reports I've shown you since 2018, we're compiling groundbreaking research, including things like the missing pillar, look at how culture contributes to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Our report on cultural heritage for inclusive growth looks at how heritage can be a platform to inspire new businesses and economic activity. Similarly, we've done research on young people in South Asia and on climate change, and all of this comes together with other research that we've undertaken in country as well. So we've done since 2020, we've done a craft sector overview review. We've looked at gender and climate change intersections with NAV, our partners who are here with us today as well. We've looked at geographically indicated craft practices to look at the business opportunities on that side, the threats as well from climate change. And most recently, we actually did a scoping report of the cultural heritage protection sector in 2022. So all of this, resulted in this idea that there is this thriving sector which has been growing. And just to point out the most recent data from the census 2021, 8.7% of Nepal's economic activity for ages 10 and above is in craft and related sectors. And the government's definition is still constrained. So the number is quite larger than 8.7. It also does not account for informally traded craft outputs, as well as maybe outputs from agro waste, etc. So this massive economy, generate economic activity that's happening in Nepal currently doesn't have any policies attached to it. There are loosely many different policies that impact it, but there's not a cohesive vision for this sector. And what we also know from our research is that, besides the informal part and other related sectors not being included in that figure, 8.7, or previously an ILO report was 9.3% in 2017-2018. Sector that's related to tourism, to agriculture, and other cultural sectors and industries. So it's quite a significant GDP contributor. It's something still on the rise. And like any other sector, it faces certain challenges. The global challenges facing this sector, which can be a great place for youth entrepreneurship, are climate change, its inclusion, and also cultural heritage protection. Just to also point out specifically some of the art forms we're talking about, and we needed, I'm segregating these only to highlight how much ground this covers. So when we think about architecture, which is a recognized art form that the British Council considers as an art form, architecture means construction, the entire construction sector. It's a massive emitter. So especially in Nepal, the concretization of cities, moving away from our traditional, architecture to modern construction, that's created a massive shift. It's design, again, very important. The way design is applied across different things at industrial level, at more individual level, can make a lot of change in terms of consumption. Then fashion, again, another massive industry with big contributions to climate change. So in terms of art forms, besides craft, these art forms connect us to massive sectors that are figuring out how to adapt to the threat of climate change, whilst also addressing some of their own negative impact on environment. So, as a sector, we see immense potential in craft and related sectors as a launch pad. It's basically a launch pad without, because there is a certain baggage with the word craft, but it leads to so many different things. And that's what we wanted to highlight. It's full of opportunities. So since 2020, we've been working with youth entrepreneurs interested in looking at Nepal's natural heritage, interested in its cultural heritage, and how to apply that to create more resilient communities, to create community development. So we started in 2020 through the Road to COP campaign. So in 2021, the UK hosted the 26th edition of the Conference of Parties. And this was done in Glasgow in Scotland. And in lead up to that event, we started a campaign where we wanted to encourage youth participation, or those who were traditionally left out from climate dialogue, from climate actions, to be more engaged. So our big push was to create enhanced youth participation in climate action. And we wanted to do that through Innovation Grant. But as British Council, a cultural relations organization, we thought it would be appropriate to use arts and culture as the vehicle to deliver that innovation. And that's where we started. We started from a climate lens, and here we are today. Today,
Crystal, you're frozen.
in our hands is it is
चलो अली सुनिए ना.
very I mean
Jyoti, do you have access to Nisha's slides?
I'm checking. Give me a minute.
Apologies. We'll be with you in a few minutes. Thank you. I think what we'll do, we'll maybe go to Saga with the introduction to KU in the interest of time, yes? And then Nishal can come in again at the end. If yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. A very good afternoon and namaste to everyone inside and outside the country, from different part of the country. Welcome on board to the inaugural session of In Our Hand 2023. I, along with the team of KU mentors, would like to warmly welcome you again. I'm Sagar Manandar. I'm coordinating Bachelor of Craft and Design in Kathmandu University. And our Kathmandu University has a mission to provide quality education for leadership and a vision to become a world-class university devoted to bringing knowledge and technologies to the service of mankind. The university take the skills from campus to the community. In the context of contemporary teaching and learning, innovative teaching and learning pedagogies are interpreted to make our vision and mission. We, as Kathmandu University, are on the way to collaborate with the society for the better competencies for the students, whom are the resource person in the future, such as all the participants in the program are recorded with full potential to lead the ideas for our country's economy. Academically joining hands in this program is to put forward the masses of interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary approach to give a new experience on how you learn for a new creative venture. Creativity, along with a technology to build the future tomorrow, is how we must move ahead in our own path. The mentors exploring the expertise to collaborate, inquire, and motivate you all in the journey of progression to develop the concept and articulate the ideas that you are in the path of the envisioning. Rather than transformations of knowledge, we try to inbuild the construction of knowledge and sharing knowledge and make an ambience to learn, which is very important. And that is why we are looking forward to it. The idea of material exploration and visibility with promoting local skills, craft knowledge, and building the capacity is our mottos. And in this part, Kathmandu University School of Arts, Department of Art and Design will also lead a way for you to accredit process in the way along with the program. The expertise here have their own personalities. I think they will be developed within the creative ventures that we will be going along. And I hope that we as an academic partners can be justifiable for you to innovate the practical lessons, and will be developing your ideas and concepts for the future ventures. And I hope that you also enjoy this program throughout. And thank you very much. And I, along with the team of Kathmandu University and our expertise.
Thank you, Sagarji. Sorry, I got dropped out. The 3G, 4G also failed for a second there. I'll quickly go back to my presentation. I only had 2 more slides left. But as I was saying, we've evolved as a program, and that is with partners like KU who've responded to a lot of needs that have been coming out in this sector, both from academic and from other sectoral perspectives. So in our hands currently is a research and development grant program. It is facilitated as a mix of digital and physical activities. We're currently in the digital phase where the initial start, but there will be physical events and opportunities to gather in person soon with us later in the program. What we're essentially trying to achieve is a creative green economy. I'll come to that, what that means. And we do this and we look at the impact of those businesses within the creative green economy through a quintuple bottom line, which is an alternative business evaluation framework, which I'll also share a little details about in the next slide. And mainly, though, it is about enabling youth so that they can champion cultural heritage, they can champion community development, and also, the environment along the way. So quickly on the concepts of creative green economy, Anilji will speak more about this in the second half of the program today. But what we mean by this is the intersections where low carbon economy with cultural and creative outputs is generating economic activity. That's what we mean by the creative green economy. We think this is something that will be uniquely positioning Nepali identity-based outputs. So these are geographically indicated. They're also very diverse. And a lot of these skills, this intangible heritage has been passed down the generations in communities across Nepal. So the knowledge as well, not just the skills, but as well, which can be very important to creating additional opportunities in the future. So in terms of the quintuple bottom line, this is what we mean. What we intend to do through this program is work on businesses that value, besides profit, people, a place, the planet as an environment, and also have a wider purpose other than profit. So that's our business evaluation framework, which we call the quintuple bottom line. And it doesn't end there. Besides the incubator, we've now started thinking about advocating for this work. So in terms of advocacy, we've just recently established a Nepal-based working committee. This working committee will be tasked with delivering events and engagements next year for stakeholders, which for us are line managing ministries and other important actors influencing the work in craft and related sectors. And what we want to do with government leaders and other leaders is explore the opportunities which you've already seen through your ideas that you've pitched. But something that's still missing are the nurturing environment where, through policies and effective direction. So that's what we hope to achieve. And you all are part of this journey. Through your participation, we hope to accumulate enough research and knowledge, so that we can bring a whole bunch of evidence, to our argument that the creative green economy is something to invest in, and that the youth are also very much interested in developing it with the government as well as other actors. So that's a quick rundown of British Council work as well as in our hands. I'd like to now, after Sagarji, call on Helen, who represents our UK partnerships. Helen, would you like to come in?
Yes, I'm using 2 screens, so just give me a second to make sure I get the right one up for you guys. You can see this, yeah?
Yes.
I've lost you all, so sorry, I can't see you. Thank you so much for having Applied Art Scotland and Edinburgh Napier University back in the in our hands. As Nishal said, we started 3 years ago with Road to COP26, and it's great to be back here. And it's also great to have some of the entrepreneurs that have been on the last 2 programs with us in the room today, because they've come back as mentors. And myself and my colleagues have been really fortunate to spend time with them online and also in person, when we were so very fortunate to visit in February, to see their work, to learn more about what they were doing and the context in which they're operating in. And from I'm Helen, I'm based in Glasgow in Scotland. Fortunately, we're not experiencing power cuts, but who knows? It's just incredible to meet people who have so much passion and desire and a real drive to want to do something differently, to want to be part of a bigger change, and to want to talk about the issues that, as Nishal was saying, with the quintuple bottom line, is relevant to place, purpose, people, planet, etc. So that's great. Oh, someone's drawing some lovely artwork on my slides, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to quickly introduce me and Applied Arts Scotland, and also Edinburgh Napier University, for my other colleagues who can't be here today. So yeah, I'm Helen, I'm based in Scotland, and I work independently to produce projects, events and development programs here in Scotland, internationally, like with this project, but also voluntarily in the creative industries. And I design, facilitate and produce opportunities, spaces in which creative practitioners and micro businesses can really push that and fulfill their artistic and business potential. So similar to what Nishal was saying, what Saga was saying, Shahida, is, I think in this space, we believe creativity and creative thinking, creative minds, a creative perspective has a lot to offer in terms of looking at solving some of our global issues, particularly around the climate. So how can we harness this to take us forward? My professional specialism and my personal interest is craft and design. I know that some of you in the room are coming from very different angles. It might be engineering, it might be science, it might be agriculture, excuse me. But we'd really like to work with you and work with our colleagues at KU, at Nepal Art Village, to support you on this journey. And one thing I would like to say is thank you for, permitting me to speak in English today. I'm very grateful for that. So one of the roles that I have is an advisor to Applied Arts Scotland. Let me tell you a bit more about them. So Applied Arts Scotland, as you read in the joining information, is a membership organisation that's run by makers and for makers. I'm not a maker. I trained as a maker, but I'm not a maker. So I'm not, that's why I'm an advisor, because I support them to do what they want to do. And as you can read on screen, this is what we do and why we exist. So we're connecting, we're engaging the community, we're building skills, we're influencing, we're lobbying, and we're encouraging self-sufficiency. And that's this model that you're looking at on the right-hand side, is the making sustainable livelihoods strategy. So everything we're doing is looking at supporting creative practitioners, whether they're an artisan or a designer or anywhere in between, to sustain what it is that they want to do and how they want to do that in terms of, as Nishal was saying, that quintuple bottom line. And I want to share 2 projects with you that I think give examples of how we work and why we believe, and hopefully our Nepali partners believe, we're relevant to the In Our Hands project and to Road to COP26. So we'll start with an international project. This was a project that Applied Arts Scotland worked on for a number of years with the British Council in Thailand. And we supported making communities across the country, so from mostly north to south rather than east to west, with their sustainable development as part of the what was the International Crafting Futures project. As Nishal said, there's new streams that kind of now sit there. And we supported the creative development through skills exchange and collaborative product development. And we did some of this between Scottish makers based in Scotland, but also makers based in Thailand. So there was creative exchange, skills development, but also looking at professional and business development programs. And this one that I'm highlighting to you, we supported 5 weaving communities in the southern states of Thailand that have been experiencing long-term conflict. So we supported their sustainable business development in a program which had 2 strands, and each of those built on a foundation of design thinking, which is the image on the right-hand side, the model on the right-hand side. And this model, or a version of this model, will come up in our hands program to think about how do we bring that creative thinking process, that design thinking process, to enable us to look at providing these solutions that are fit for the challenge, that are supporting us, the people, the community, to really address the challenge. How can we understand what the challenge is, and how can we, through this roller coaster ride, understand what the solutions may be there? So the first of the 2 strands in this program took place in a 5-day workshop. So we've got a couple of images there on the left. And we had all the weaving communities together. They were all working with different natural fibers to explore, understand, and shape the business model. So for me, that's really important, because that talks to this program, is how can you do some of the thinking either individually or collectively to really understand what it is, who are you, what are you about, what do you want to do, what do you value, what's your purpose, and how can we understand that either collectively, if you're working as a group, to then look at what it is that you want to do to demonstrate that, to prove that, to evidence that, and provide solutions to other people. And then the second phase was done in each of the 5 communities to develop new products and collections with the support of mentors. So again, it has echoes of what we're doing here. And as Nishal said, this program has digital and physical elements. And with our colleagues at Kathmandu University, in the art and design school, but also in engineering, there are real skills there that you as the participants can tap into to support how you want to be looking at developing new products, encapsulating your product or service with a view to talking about the solution, the offering that you want to make into this creative green economy, and our lovely mentors that we have in the room. So on the left is one of the sessions with the weaving communities. It was supported by a Thai-based design studio. And then the new products that are on the right-hand side were all brought together and launched at Chiang Mai Design Week in 2019. So this all happened pre-pandemic. And this was the final program that Applied Art Scotland, being a UK partner, like Nishal talked about, we delivered in Thailand at the end of the Crafting Futures program. And it was the arts manager in the British Council Thailand, so Nishal's equivalent in Thailand, who brought all the activity that they delivered over the previous 6 years with various UK partners to realise the Craft Toolkit, which I'm understanding that you're hearing about through the programme, and I'm going to introduce that later. But the Craft Toolkit itself was about a legacy for these Thai-based communities, studios, independent designers, villages, communities, to really keep going with the work that had been that they'd been engaged in, that they'd given up their time to come and explore, particularly with the weaving communities in conflict zones. They were, their husbands, their fathers, their sons, were decimated because they were being conscripted. So the women in these communities were working so hard in such challenging situations with diminished resource, with diminished access to customers, with diminished materials to be able to, to keep going, to keep generating an income, to keep their lives and their families running. So the Craft Toolkit, as I say, I'll introduce it a bit more later on. But just a quick look, if you haven't already had a look, and I'll put a link in the chat shortly. It will feature in the In Our Hands program because you guys are all using it to input your thinking as we go through this explore and evolve phase, to document the evolution and the exploration of your idea and your thinking. So the welcome page is on the left-hand side, and this is just an example on the right of one of the exercises that we like to think are quite playful and interactive. And then just to say that the toolkit is available in multiple languages, including Nepali. As I say, I'll share that link shortly. The second project is called Closing the Loop, and it's actually a group of Scottish based makers who set up their own research group because they wanted to explore gaps in their knowledge, but also in their kind of immediate sector's knowledge around materials and the application of sustainability to what they do and how they practice in their studios. So on the left is the makers, and actually Inga, who will join us on the program, is about halfway up the staircase. So there she is. And this is an image of them when they came together on a micro residency just after the lockdowns finished. And it was in Scotland. And they shared skills and processes, and they exchanged boxes of materials, so scrap materials, offcuts from their studios, to kind of really just spark this idea of like, how can I tackle this challenge? I don't know anything about this, and really start to get them to have conversations about what they know, what they're learning, how they're
Meeting सुरु भइसक्यो के भन्छ यहाँ उले अब के join गर भन्छ म join भइसक्यो.
Is that for me or just someone's microphone maybe?
Yeah, someone's microphone.
That's okay. And then on the right-hand side, which is relevant to the program, I promise you, are some of the research that they were doing around models, around information, around knowledge, around thinking, both globally and locally, that really started to inform this dialogue. And it's where this idea of the quintuple bottom line that Nishal was talking about, that Inga really developed with the group and thought about and has taken forward into her research. So up here, you can see this is the quadruple bottom line. Yes, the quadruple bottom line. And if we put place around that, we've got the 5. But we'll talk more about that on the program. And this group went on to, they're still going, they're still working, and they actually went on to exhibit some of their work in a very interactive exhibition called Matter, Earth, Materials and Making. So it's very much about process, it was about material. It wasn't necessarily about finished products or services, but it really started to question that idea and thinking around how creative people are thinking about, as I said, making a difference and making change. Apologies about the image on the right-hand side. It's a bit pixely, but that was actually taken when they were installing the exhibition. And it's this group that really informed what is the 5th module within the Craft Toolkit, as you can see, called sustainability. It was their thinking, it was their work. It was how they were questioning their practice and how they operate, how they think, how they map information, how they find information, that really shaped this module, which has 3 exercises. And again, I'll talk to that. And it was actually written by 2 of the members in Closing the Loop. And what was really exciting about this is that we, on the road to COP26, program, which, as Nishal said, was the starting point for the relationship between UK and Nepal in this genesis was bringing together the communities in Nepal on Road to COP26 and the Closing the Loop group in Scotland. And there's a beautiful film in which all the makers filmed and recorded all their own footage, and we had it edited together. And it's my colleague, Dr. Inga Peniels, who we've been talking about, who you'll meet later in the programme, that put this film together. And just to introduce Inga and our partner in Scotland, to Applied Art Scotland, I'll tell you a bit more about them. This is my final slide. So our partner now and right the way through is Edinburgh Napier University. So Inga Peniels, who's wearing the yellow jumper on the left-hand side, she is currently a research fellow at Edinburgh Napier University in the Creative Informatics project. And I think you had some information in the joining programme. She's about to change jobs within the university, but she's taking all her research with her. So that's great for us, great for you guys in terms of that. But that's why I say she's currently a research fellow. But Creative Informatics is a research and development programme in Edinburgh. So that's on the east side of the country, and also southeast Scotland. So quite a rural, agricultural area of the country. And it was looking at bringing areas of world-class creative industries and the tech sector together. And via funding and opportunities, it was about looking at how creative individuals and organizations can explore how data can be used to drive new products, businesses, and experiences. So data-driven creativity, essentially. And it nurtured local talent through key funding programs, regular events, and kind of sadly, the program's coming to an end. Actually, today and tomorrow is, I think, the last public part, which is why Inga and my colleague Lynn at Applied Art Scotland can't be with us, because they're at this innovation showcase, showcasing all the work they've done over the last, I think it's 4 years. But Applied Art Scotland was actually a beneficiary of the programme. So the image on the right-hand side is the Distance project. And it had various different stages, but it offered makers, so people using their hands, a lot of hand-eye coordination, a lot of tactility, etc., to collaborate and share experiences and objects in new and exciting ways through immersive digital technology. So you can see the VR headset in the lady. And the first phase really solidified our working relationships with Inga as a research fellow, but she's also a practicing glass artist. So we had a previous relationship with her, but as an academic, her research interests are space, place, creative mapping, digital making techniques, and how artists are charting climate change. So I guess we're a bit biased, but we think Inga's a real asset to the In Our Hands programme, and hopefully, as Nishal was saying, with the legacy going forward. And the Distance project, just to say that it really built on Applied Arts Scotland's experiences of supporting these international cross-cultural residencies, like I mentioned, in Thailand. But it started just as lockdown hit, so it wasn't about, maybe as we'd intended, about bringing people across international timelines and oceans and seas, but actually, because it was in lockdown, it was about collaborating with somebody who might live next door to you or down the street. So it enabled this opportunity for a different space in which creativity and ideas could be explored. And it definitely continued to support us with how we wanted to develop the Craft Toolkit. So I think, Nishal, that's all I wanted to say. I've probably run over time and I apologize, but if anyone's got any questions, and I'm now in the chat, you can ask me, and I will quickly put some links in the chat.
Sure. Thank you, Rick. So we'll come back to Helen in the next session. Just quickly over to now to Anil Ji, who's representing Nepal Art Village, to introduce NAV and the creative green economy.
Thank you very much. So first of all, greetings to everybody, and welcome to this. I think what will be a very amazing, creative time together, because the purpose with which we are meeting is something that is beyond, what each one of us can do, and so we really need to work together, and then also strive, to set a very high bar, for ourselves. So one thing that we really need to do is say, from today, I am going to dedicate not only my energy, but also my creativity, for this purpose. So I think this is something I want to start with. Now, in Nepal, and over the years, so if you take 3 decades, I am one of those people who will never accept, the argument that it cannot be done. So there are many people who say nothing can be done in Nepal, so they leave every day. And so we just happen to be people who think, everything can be done here. And so I just want to share 2-3, pieces of data. When I joined IUCN in 1990, Nepal had 26.2% forest cover. Today we have reached 45%, forest cover. So I want to challenge each one of you and say, how many countries do you know that have increased forest cover, by that amount? So just to give you an example, when I joined the Academy of Science and Technology as an energy, engineer, about 4% Nepalese had access to electricity. So today we are 96%, electricity coverage. So this is again, unheard of when you think of, how countries can, actually attain these things. So let's look at, population growth rate, which is a really good example, because, say 30 years ago, Nepal's population was growing by about 2.6% per annum. And this was because of the high mortality rate of children. So today we have brought it down to 0.92%, which is actually below replacement rate. So you can go on and on about how Nepal is one of those places where the whole world, actually comes to study and to learn about how these things can be done. So it is in that context that I love to be part of a campaign called In Our Hands, because I think with this program, we will make a difference and we will bring change and we will show that Nepal can take the lead. Now, the reason why this program is very important for all of us is because we live in a planet that is shared by 8 billion people now. So 8 billion people, they extract their food, they extract their energy, they extract their building materials, so almost everything they need from the earth. But unfortunately, recent years have shown that human beings have not done a really good job of taking care of their planet, of taking care of their home. Now, if Elon Musk and other people are really successful, then I'm sure there will be a day when we have a spare planet, so we can pollute this planet and move to another planet. But until that day, we have to take care of the one planet that we have. So until we have a spare planet, we have no option. Now, on the one hand, we have one planet that we have to take care of, but on the other hand, we have this wonderful group of people, who are extremely creative. Now, when we say creative, we have to say from day one that the idea, the craft, the work, my, basically contribution is something that can be replicated. Now, the word replicated is very important because we're not just looking at an individual idea or an individual person, but what we do with, us together, but the ideas that we work on are something that we want to go to scale with. And so ultimately, when we start, it looks like it is me, what can an individual do? How much difference can my idea make? But if we design it for replication, then believe me, it can be replicated all over the world. And hence, these ideas can be extremely scalable. Now, in that context, it is very important for us to also understand that the reason why dinosaurs are probably extinct, from the world today is because they spend too much money or too much effort, celebrating World Environment Day instead of doing something. So celebrating World Environment Day is not the way to move ahead. And so we want each one of us to take action. And so taking action, when it translates into our slogan, it means each one of us have to basically realize that the changes that we seek on Earth and for the planet is in our hands. So this, I think, is something that we really have to reiterate, because yes, the planet is in trouble. There are 8 billion people, but the idea that I will start, the actions that I will take, from my own, initiative, from my hands, is something that is very, very replicable, and it will create the impact that we would like to see. Now, on this, it is also very important that we do not have too much time. And so here again, when we talk about climate change and other challenges that the Earth faces, so let us think that in 1990, when the graphs were drawn for how much the Earth's temperature will rise if it was business as usual. So the prediction in 1990 would be that by the year 2100 comes around, the Earth would have warmed up by about 4 degrees Celsius. Now, because of all the good work that is being done around the world, we have bent the curve to become 2.8 degrees Celsius. Now, the whole world, has basically decided that we needed to bring it down to 1.5 degree, Celsius. So in terms of the global targets, we need to understand again that Nepal is a front runner, because when the whole world, has set 2050 as the year when the countries will become carbon neutral, Nepal has set its goal as 2045. So we want to be 5 years ahead of the rest of the world. And so this again should be something that we all internalize and take pride in. Now, for a country that has no fossil fuel, that has no coal, there is no option for us except to go for renewable energy. And so we will discuss in subsequent sessions, how we can leverage, Nepal's resources, Nepal's energy sources, and so basically help contribute to the carbon neutral goal that we all have. So now a little bit about craft. Each one of us Nepalese, each one of our families, our communities, we have an amazing tradition for craft. And so if you recall, just a few years back, we did not use plastic. We did not use things that went to the landfill site. We use things on a sustainable basis, which meant either it lasted a very long time, so usually made up of precious metal or things that lasted for a very long time, or we always use things that went into the ground and actually provided nutrition, to the earth instead of going into the landfill site. So these are simple concepts that we've grown up with. And so we just need to basically understand the science, the mechanics, the engineering, sort of the design principles behind these things, and then basically bring out our creative energy so that we can create a future that we seek. And so this is why it is really exciting, because we're going to build on a very strong base that we already have, which is our heritage and our tradition. And so we would like to move forward with it. So for example, today, as we celebrate Indra Jatra, so I don't know how many of you actually notice, but the festival is celebrated because Indra, the king of the heavens who comes to earth, is caught by the local people, while he's trying to, basically steal, so not steal, but pick up some flowers, for his mother. Now that flower is called the night jasmine, or basically it is a flower that is very commonplace here, right? Now, the night jasmine is something that grows in each of our garden, but if you do not have any connection to that flower, if you do not have any connection to the festival, then just drinking and eating on Indra Jatra doesn't make any sense. So what I mean by joining our hands and creating a green economy is basically saying, why are we celebrating Indra Jatra? Well, because Indra was then sent back to heaven with his mother. And so now remember this, by basically exchanging rain for the morning mist. And it is the morning mist that will help to basically ripen the rice all over Nepal. So if you notice this morning, the rain starts stopping, and then the morning mist, will begin. So imagine how much of our culture is based on climate, how much of our culture is based on, craft, how much of our culture is based on flowers. And so if we build on that strong base, there is absolutely no reason, why we cannot succeed with a campaign, called In Our Hands. And the overall goal being basically to collectively create a creative green economy. So I'm very, excited. I know each one of you will come up with amazing, ideas. The only thing that we have to commit ourselves to, on this auspicious day is to say, I know a lot of things, but now I'm going to do something. And so if you can go from the doing, and so the knowledgeable part, having information is the easy part these days, but then going from knowing to doing is what we really want to achieve, with this campaign. So I know it's going to be very exciting. I really look forward to working with each one of you, and it's going to be a very exciting, campaign ahead. So let me stop and maybe hand over to Saurabh if he has wants to add, anything to this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anilai, and welcome to everyone. So someone is asking that, why this orientation is for. So this orientation is for these all of you, all of us who have some wonderful idea, and that we are going to work with you further. So this in our hands, we as a story cycle, we also collaborate. I'm going to share few how we start working with British Council, and how we have been designed, more or less the story behind this in our hands. And later on, I'll also explain you the how we will gonna be spend time with you further for the 6 months. So I work for the platform along with other friends, a team on this room. It's a story cycle. It's a innovative storytelling platform that we try to help to change the behavior towards the sustainable lifestyle. So we got a chance to work with British councils back in 2019 on the campaign called Dream City. So that's the Dream City campaign is a very interesting community-based design approach for the for a specific space that we can redesign that places, integrating the culture, heritage, and the nature. Later on, we also get a chance to work in 2020 on these plantation toolkits. This toolkit is very interesting for the urban setting. What kind of plantations we are looking for, what will be the best plan for the plantations, where we can plant. So this detail, we do a detailed research based on Kathmandu city and prepare these plantation toolkits. Later on, we prepare or design a garden center at Nepal Art Village. It's located above the Tika Bhairav in Lalitpur. So we planted more than 8,000 trees to offset the carbon offset that has produced while the Nepali delegates travel to the COP28. And at the same time, we also work with the material research in collaboration with the British Council and UK partner, along with the Nepal Art Village. At the same time, there is a Road to COP Innovation Grant Programs. This is the similar program that now we have been working on. So, but it was more or less a 6-day, more intensive program. Based on that program design and feedback, we redesign it with the partners with the 6-month and the 2-phase of the program design. So, and we also rename this from the innovation grant to In Our Hands. And this year, this program will be stretched out in the 6 months and the 3 phases. You already go through the British Council website before you applying, follow all these steps. But I just want to make it clear in some steps over here so that it will be quite easy to understand where we are and where we are heading. So in the phase 1, we are trying to use the Craft Toolkits. So Helen will be going to explain what exactly Craft Toolkit is. And we also have a breakout sessions where we will be going through each steps on a small group on these Craft Toolkits. So this 5-week will be more on exploring and evolving your idea. So we work together with your ideas and help it to make it in the stage of the research. On the end of the November, there will be a research pitch. So based on your idea, you will be pitching for the research grant. While you get a research grant, it's 10 of you will get a research grant, but other who are not getting the research grant, they are also allowed to move ahead further. So that will be stage 2, that we call research and refine. And after the research and refine, so there will be a development grant. So that session will be happen in the in-persons, most probably in Kathmandu. The 6 of you will get the research grant. Again, if you are not getting any grants, but you want to move further, so you can move further. So we will be allowed that ecosystems further. Then there will be a showcasing and further scaling that we are calling this development and delivery grants. So these are the stages. So it looks like it's a long journey, but what we realize that we need to be work slowly, but following the every steps with every idea. So that will be more better than the having a very aggressive incubations program. So for the next 5 weeks, we have a specific schedules so that we can talk in the breakout sessions. I would like to introduce quick introduction of the main faculty and the main members. So this is the main faculty for this phase 1 and phase 2. So later on, we also invite the other mentors, other speakers, other facilitators based on our requirement and based on the individual's ideas need. So this professor is associated with the KU, so he'll be more focusing on the design thinking approach. So I'll just go to that very quickly. Helen, so you already introduced the Helen. So Helen will be helping us on the different aspects. So, but Helen and I will be more into these craft toolkits on this 5 week of the sessions. Kirtiman Sake is also associated with the KU. So he'll be also helping us on this different stage of the on the first phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Dr. Lynn Hawkins is also with us. So, and we also have a Pratish Lal Shrestha who will be more helping us on the designing, design thinking and prototyping. So last year we have very successful some prototype. So based on last year's and others' experience, he'll be helping us to do a lot of things. Prina is also helping us to develop the prototype in each stage. So, and I also helping, along with my team will helping us on the branding and storytelling and kind of things that will be mostly focused on the stage 3. Dr. Inge is already mentioned by the Helen, so she will be also with us in this phase 1 and also in the other phases. So Anil Chitrakar you just share his ideas, so he'll be guiding us throughout our whole program. Rosa ma'am is also helping us on the more focusing on the research part. She's representing from the Nepal Art Village. And we are also collaborating with the National Innovation Center to do some physical prototypings and have some in-person sessions with the Mahavir Poon over there. And this year we are trying to have many more applicants for these phase 1s. So we have been designed as an mentoring sessions with you. So beside these primary facilitators, we also do have a list of mentors. So Manisha Morjan, Chandra Prakash Pathak, John Morjan, Meera Lamichhane, Sushil Mainali, and myself will also helping you. Beside the primary facilitators, will help you to go through these craft toolkits, navigated craft toolkits, and helping your assignments, activities throughout these phase 1s. And now, before we go to the breakout sessions, I'd like to invite again with the Helens to briefly go through the about the craft toolkits. Helen.
Hello, sorry, somebody knocked at my door and I had to get it. I'm so sorry. Sarav, is it me now with the toolkit? Thank you. I'm so sorry. I told the delivery company not to come, but they Okay. It feels like being back in lockdown again. Okay, so Craft Toolkit, which I've already mentioned, but I will introduce you to it. And Nishal, I will try to keep an eye on the time as well. So as I mentioned, the Craft Toolkit we developed with as out of those projects we did in the British Council Thailand, and it was a result of working with different communities with different drivers around, you know, people, place, profit, purpose. And thank you to Anil for his quite passionate introduction, which resonates with many aspects of how we work, but how we as Applied Art Scotland thrive with other partners, because our lens, our focus is very much craft. And the toolkit was always developed with the idea that it was this Thailand, Scotland collaboration, but it could work globally. And it has been translated. It was originally in English and Thai. As I've mentioned, it's in Nepali, but it's also in 9 other languages as well. You can use it on your laptop, on your smartphone, on your tablet. And as Saurav just said, we'll be using it in this explore and evolve phase in the program, and we'll be working with you. The mentors will be working with you to use it and document the development of your idea, of your thinking, of your, what did Anil say? I think you said the action, the doing. So how can you turn this thinking into doing, and work towards the evidence that you need to propose for the research grant? I'll introduce you to it. I'm just going to do an online tour. So I'm live on my browser to take you through it. And as I said, I'll keep an eye on the time. So this is the homepage. This is the URL, crafttoolkit.com. And this is a screen where you can register. And once you've done that, you can return and log in each time. And you'll see here in the top left-hand corner is where you can select your language. Oh, sorry, that's me logged in. Please bear with me. I'm going to stay with English. So once you have, oh, come back. Sorry, I've lost oh, there we go. There's the homepage. So the registration is free, and you simply need to choose a username here, and you need an email address. If you haven't got one, is there somebody you know that may have one, or can you find someone who can set one up for you in a free, you know, a webmail account? You then need to choose a password, and there's information here about the length it needs to be and how to make that stronger. Once you've registered, you'll receive a confirmation email into your email account. So please, when you receive that, follow the instructions, and do remember to check your junk or your spam folder to do that. And we're really urging you to register as soon as you can. And that's for 2 reasons. One of them is so you can familiarize yourself with the content, with the exercises, maybe get an idea of what you already know and you're yet to find out, and plan, you know, to do this explore and evolve, like Anil was saying. What do we already know, and what do we need to know to make this happen, to be tangible? And also to let us know if you're facing any problems registering or logging in, and we can get these resolved, because you will use the toolkit in the program, and so you can you will need to register. And what I'm just going to do is put my email address in the chat. So if you do have any problems logging in, and I realize I've just sent that to one person, so let me put that in again. You can message me and let me know the problems that you're having with registering. If you can send me a screenshot of a message that you're receiving, then that will help me speak to the developers. Okay, that's the boring admin part. Right. One once you've logged into the toolkit, you'll arrive at your dashboard here. And I just quickly want to point out that, again, up here in the top left, you can select your language. So you need to do that, you know, before you kind of progress further. You can work in English or Nepali. It's up to you. Perhaps there's another language. One of the things to remember is that when you select your language, it will also select your currency. So when you use the managing money element, it will also change the currency symbol in which you're working. Now the dashboard here displays the 5 modules and the exercises. So I'll quickly introduce you to those 5 modules. We've got the bigger picture, we've got planning the details, selling and marketing, managing money, which I just referenced, and sustainability, which was the new module that I mentioned had joined. And the other thing that happens on your dashboard, if I refresh this, is it shows you your progress. So I get this confetti burst because I've completed all the modules, all the exercises, sorry, within each module. So you can see the bigger picture module has 2 exercises and I've completed those 2. And I'm told I've done 100% of the exercises. So it's kind of your place where you go to kind of build, add information and return to. And at the base of the dashboard here, it also links to your business plan. And I'll come back to that in a second. These films, to-do list, resources and user guides. And as I say, I'll come back to those as I introduce you to the toolkit itself, and I would like to encourage you to explore once you've logged in. And also in the menu in the top right hand side, you can have a look at your account, so where you logged in, and you can also log out. So I've told you about the these 5 modules. Let me just get back to the dashboard. Now, I don't have time to go through all of them today. I've got 15 minutes, but this is why I'm asking you to register and explore. But it's important to say that you don't have to work through the toolkit in a linear fashion. The toolkit was very much designed so that you could, if you just wanted to think about money and you wanted to price either your time or a product, or you wanted to think about the flow of the money, you could just use that exercise. You could use some of them in isolation, or if there were elements that you knew more of first, you could start there, and then you could start to identify where these gaps are. And with the gaps, either in your idea, in your business model, in your knowledge, in the skills that you need, the toolkit would help you build that picture so that you could then go and seek that. So there's no linear way to work through this. It's very likely we won't be working through it in a linear fashion on the program. There'll be elements that you will work on that will have impact in terms of your sustainability, but also your customer or the market. So you need to kind of cross-reference as you go. And I'm sure as much as working on the program and documenting your information in the toolkit, you'll generate as many questions as you'll maybe find answers. But this is why it's the explore and evolve phase. It's not the know everything as soon as possible so that you can create the spare planet, which Anil was talking about. That's not, that's not what we're doing. So if, for instance, the idea that you're bringing to the In Our Hands program, you know more about your customers, then you may want to start with thinking about who are my customers, why do I know them so well? And you can maybe start in this exercise in 3A. Or if your idea is more orientated towards the sustainability, the green matters, the planetary matters, the materials you're working with, you may want to start in the sustainability module to kind of start to download some of your thinking and your information into the toolkit. Now, some of the exercises you do need to populate before you can progress with other ones, but they're mostly here in the managing money. And that's because some of the calculations that you make enable you to go to the next exercise. So an example is if you think about how you cost your product or your service, but also your time, then it gives you a multiplier that you can take forward into further financial thinking. But this will become obvious as you work through it. So each module starts the same. I'm just going to pick this one. So each module starts the same. Sorry, it's got a memory from what I was doing before. So you get an introduction to the module, and then when you start it, it gives you the exercises. So there's a total of 13 exercises across these 5 modules or sections. And then once you have chosen your exercise, I'm going to pick this one. Each one of them begins with a film. And the film is very much about situating the topic or the subject of the exercise within practice, within business, within what makers are doing on the ground. And because the toolkit started in Scotland and Thailand, it's very much from the position of makers in both those countries, because that's where we took the footage from originally. But it grounds it in practice rather than in an abstract thinking. Now, in the dashboard, I mentioned that down here at the bottom, you've got all the films, and you can go and watch all of these films in one go if you want to, but essentially these are the films that exist at the beginning of each of the exercises. So when you start an exercise, as I say, they're 13. I've picked relationships map. Each of the exercises has introductory screens that lead you into the interactive elements of the exercise. So it starts to prompt your thinking and maybe ask you some more questions or situate what the exercise is about. So this one, the relationships map, is very much about thinking about the jobs and the activities by people within your business and outside your business. And it proposes that this happens in 3 areas. So about the products and services, so the development, the production, the design, but then also the management and administration that sits around realizing that, but then also the marketing, selling, and distributing. So the exercise itself starts to think about, well, who are the people that are involved in designing, making, and producing your products and services? So inside your business and outside your business. And you can simply add people. I'm going to add me. I'm going to add engineer. So these are the people that are inside my business. But then depending on the scale or where you're at or the model you want to operate, or your collaborators or the community you're working with, you may have people outside of your business. And so, as you can see, it's quite a simple way to start to map out who are all these people that are involved. And in this exercise, we run through those 3 areas. So products and services, management and administration, it's the same process. And then the marketing, selling, or distributing of your products or services. Again, it's the same interaction in this exercise. Other exercises have different ways of interacting. And in this exercise, there's also an opportunity to think about who else is involved outside of your business. So for instance, here, it could be an in our hands mentor that you've got on the program, or this example is a funder. Just going to skip through. There's an opportunity to add anyone else who's missing. And then what the purpose of each exercise is to help you develop an outcome. So to visually generate information about what your idea, your business, your product, your service idea is, and start to build a picture of what this is. Because as Anil said, we've got to do it. We've got to have the business element operating, the model, the cash flow, the human resources, the financial resources to make this happen, so that we can be part of the difference, so we can be part of the change. And the information you enter online is saved as you go. So you don't have to finish an exercise in one sitting, but you may want to carve out time, like Anil was saying, is where are you going to find this time to dedicate to realizing your ideas, realizing your activity? And then, but once you have finished each exercise, you're congratulated. That confetti I talked about appears on your dashboard. And then you'll also be prompted with some questions to go further if you want to think further about the work that you've just done. So, for example, here, does anybody that you've just thought about have too many jobs? And it's very likely that that person's going to be you. You know, one of the things that happens in emergent businesses, in businesses that maybe have people who are new to the sector or have an idea that sits across different sectors, is you've got to find knowledge and skills and information and advice from others. So how can you start to look at how that separates out? How can you build a community around this to enable it to have more of a chance to thrive and maybe spread some of that risk? So these are just thoughts to help you think further. And at the end of each exercise, you also have this opportunity to add to a to-do list. So think about this like a list that maybe you'd make at the start of the week saying, right, I need to do this, 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 and this. So you can add a to-do list. So research, collaborators. So I can add that to my to-do list. And then, as I said, in the menu on the dashboard, you have your to-do list, and I'll go to that in a second, but I just want to finish the exercise. So if I go to my to-do list, you can see I've got research my collaborators. Now, the good thing about this to-do list is that you can go back and collect your thoughts about, maybe, like I said, the toolkit may generate your thoughts around more questions rather than answers. So how can you articulate the question or the action that you need to do to get the information to help you keep evolving your idea? And in here, you can have that list, but the best thing is that you can get to tick them off and feel that sense of satisfaction. So you can see here that I've completed eating cheese and also rubbing some shoulders. So the whole key thing about this is that the toolkit, in terms of documenting everything that you put into it, it pulls it together in your own business plan. And this is where the business plan lives, where it holds all the information that you've put in. So again, at the top, you'll see that guide of the films, the to-do list, and the user guides. I'll tell you about those in a second. And if I click on the module, the bigger picture, and that exercise that I've just done, I can see the output, the thinking in a visual format, in this case, of the work that I did to document the different relationships that sit in different aspects of my business. And if I click on some of the other exercises, and as you saw on my dashboard, I'd finished 100% of the exercises, I can see the outputs of the work that I've done in one place. So this is a real opportunity to kind of almost be in a helicopter above your business, above your idea, above your practice, to understand how is this all coming together. And from there, you can return to the exercise. And if there's something you want to edit, you can do that along the way. So for instance, if I want to take the engineer out, I can do that. And maybe it's something I need to have outside my business because I don't have the resource financially inside my business to sustain that at this point. The other thing here is to remember that you can print your business plan. I'm not sure whether that pop-up screen is going to appear on the Zoom share screen, but you will generate the business plan here and you can print that as a PDF. So the to-do list I've told you about, and then what I wanted to finally show you is in each exercise. And the reason I'm telling you this is because, as I say, we don't have a huge amount of time, but it's about inviting you to go and look further. Is in each exercise, there's an opportunity to get some help on each of the exercises. So we have these user guides, and as I said, on the dashboard, you can access all of them in one place. And they introduce you to the exercise and how to use it. What do you want to use this for? What's it going to help you to understand? It also talks about how to use it online and offline. And the thing that I personally quite like, and as I said, it's not a linear tool that you have to use, is it suggests, okay, now you've done that, you might want to think about this. So now that you have understood this, you may want to consider, the product and service development. If you've mapped all these relationships, particularly in that product and service development, you might want to go and think about, well, what is that product and service development? And then the other thing that's associated with that, and I'll send you a link in the chat just now, is in addition to these user guides, which you can access down here, we also have some filmed on-screen navigations of each of the exercises. They're about 5 to 8 minutes long, and it's just a screen capture of myself and a colleague talking through what the exercises are, and they're useful if that's how you absorb information, but also if you get stuck in an exercise and you're not sure what to do with it, or if you want to maybe understand the exercises and think about where you'll start. So I'll send you that link now, but I'm just going to stop because I can't see anybody, and I get nervous when I can't see people. Yes, it's just me. It's just me on the screen. Everybody else is gone. Saurav, you're back. That's great. So everyone's still alive. Well, Saurav is alive. This is good. But that was a real quick run through. But it's important to know that the reason the toolkit came about was to support people to work independently. So the toolkit doesn't have to exist in a program like this for you to use it. If you think the toolkit applies to somebody you know, then send them the link. Like, it's about working through things independently. You guys are really fortunate because you're on a program where the toolkit is one part of the program, and it's a place where you can deposit thinking and thoughts and ideas and questions, and you can work with your fellow participants and also the mentors to move that forward. So it's just one tool. Your mentors, even yourselves, people in your project might have other ideas, and that's okay. The toolkit is not the solution to you guys making your idea happen. You guys are the solution to making that happen within your community and with the resources that you'll be accessing through the program. Sarah, have I covered everything? Great, thank you.
Thank you, Helen. So before we move into the breakout sessions, I just want to mention a few instructions for the breakout sessions. So you will have mentors for each breakout sessions. Then you'll get a chance to introduce yourself with your idea. So mentor will be trying to identify the common field on the different room, so that in the next sessions we can arrange based on your field, interest, expertise to make other breakout sessions. Then there will be a quick run through for the craft toolkits if you have any specific issues on that, on the registrations and the navigations. So for the registrations, if there's any issue, so we compile all the issues and send to the developer. Then we also share the upcoming session and program design times and everything, at least for the before festivals timing. Then we also, mentor will also discuss with your weekly plan. So how you engage yourself for a week and prepare for the next week sessions. And lastly, so it will be also, we have tried to design the one mentor for the one group. So you are able to communicate with the mentor after the sessions, offline through other channels. So what could be a channel that will be suggested by the mentor themselves? Maybe emails, WhatsApp, whatever convenient for all of you. So now we will have a 9 breakout session. Sadicha will arranging that, and we will be come back by 50. Sadicha, so what time we have to come back from the breakout session?
Yes, by 3:50.
3:50, perfect.
Okay. हेलो हेलो प्रकाशजी प्रशान्तजी तपाईहरुले पनि ब्रेकआउट रुम्स जोइन गर्नुभयो भने चाहिँ तपाईलाई रिक्वेस्ट आयो होला हेलो हेलो
सदीक्षा भाइहरुको त्यतिकै अन मात्रै भएर होला सागरजी आउनु
हेलो गरिमाजी हेलो तपाई जन महर्जनको ब्रेकआउट सेसनमा हुनुहुन्छ जोइन गर्नुहुन्छ तपाईलाई रिक्वेस्ट आयो होला
सदीक्षा हाम्रो 2 जना अनअसाइन्ड हुनुहुन्छ सागरजी र सर्वेशजी रिजोइन गर्नु भएको हो कि तर हामीलाई पनि
उहाँहरुलाई एउटा एउटा रुममा असाइन गरिहाल्छ सागरजीले र गरिमाजीले जोइन गर्नु भएको छ ब्रेकआउट रुम जोइन गर्नुहुन्छ तपाईलाई रिक्वेस्ट आएको छ होला हेलो अस्मिता जी हेलो अस्मिता जी तपाईलाई ब्रेकआउट रुमको रिक्वेस्ट आएको छ एक्सेप्ट गर्नुहुन्छ
ए हजुर यो हामी दुवैजना हाम्रो टिमको एकजनाले मात्र बस्दा हुन्छ कि भनेर अनि मैले चाहिँ लिभ गरिदिएको मेरो टिम मेम्बरको चाहिँ अर्कोमा जोइन भएको भएर
होइन तपाईँ पनि जोइन गर्नु हजुर तपाईँ
हेलो
ग्रुपमा हेलो हजुर
मलाई मेरो ठ्याक्क त्यो ब्रेकवाला त्यो टिमबाट म काटिएँ त्यो जोइन गरिदिनुहुन्छ फेरि प्लिज
हुन्छ म तपाईँलाई जोइन गराइदिएँ
प्रति
लगभग सबैजना उतै होला सरी ड्रप आउट अलिकति पछाडि एन्डमा चाहिँ बढिरहेको थियो
हजुर
मान्छेहरूले
अहिले चाहिँ
नाम
7 participants हुनुहुन्छ इन्क्लुडिङ अस
7 टाइम्स हाम्रो कतिवटा 9 वटा ब्रेकआउट रुम
हजुर 9 वटा
एभरेजमा 7 to 8 छ 8 जति भनौँ न 73 त्यसमा अब कतिजना हाम्रै मान्छे पर्यो सो 60 पुगिसकेका छौँ होइन होपफुली नेक्स्ट सेसन चाहिँ अब हामीले कम्युनिकेट गर्दाखेरि पनि त्यसको लागि जोइनिङ इन्स्ट्रक्सन्स पठाउनु परेन एउटा भनौँ न त्यो जुम लिङ्क र लेसन प्लान जस्तो चाहिँ पठाइदिनु पर्छ होला त्यो फर्स्ट सेसन भइहाल्यो त्यसको रिक्याप यो लिङ्क पनि सबैलाई पठाइदिनु होइन यसमा चाहिँ के यो गर्नु पर्ला हाम्रो जुन जुन सेक्सन चाहिँ एकदमै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ फर नेक्स्ट स्टेप्स होइन मेबी फर्स्ट भाग त इन्ट्रोडक्सनै थियो नि त ब्रिटिस काउन्सिल यताउताको 2 घन्टा लामो छ ब्रेकआउट रुमको डेफिनेटली डकुमेन्टेसन छैन रेकर्डिङ सो हाम्रो भिडियो लगभग अहिले 90 मिनट्स छ त्यसलाई त्यो टाइम कोड गर्न मिल्छ नि यो टाइममा चाहिँ छ भनेर त्यसरी चाहिँ हामीले गर्यौँ भने युट्युबमा राख्यो भने त्यो पोइन्ट्सहरू नै राखिदिन मिल्छ क्या अनि त्यो 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 सजिलै हुनुपर्ने हो पहिला त अब हाम्रो युट्युबमा अपलोड गर्न मिल्छ मिल्दैन र त्यसमा चाहिँ भन्नाले कुनै कुनै सेक्सन्सहरू चाहिँ तपाईँले पिकआउट गर्न मिल्छ क्या यो टाइमबाट चाहिँ अप्लाई र स्कटले बोलेको छ यो टाइमबाट चाहिँ त्यो डिफ्रेन्ट सेगमेन्ट्सहरू सुरु हुने चाहिँ गर्न मिल्छ क्या त्यो गर्दै भने चाहिँ अलिक मान्छेहरूले हेर्ने पनि सम्भावना चाहिँ हुन्छ होला हजुर हजुर त्यो हात यसरी पक्रिने अघि गरेको जस्तो
हेलो सर्भिस जी हेलो
हजुर सदस्य कसलाई सर्भिसको
हेलो सर्भिस के तपाईँलाई ब्रेकआउट रुमको रिक्वेस्ट आएको छ होला एक्सेप्ट गर्नुहुन्छ
हेलो म्याम
हजुर
हेलो
हजुर
मलाई गरिदिनु म नकआउट भएँ
तपाईँ कुन मेन्टरको रुममा हुनुहुन्थ्यो
आई गेस माधव समथिङ के थियो कि
मनिषा महर्जन
प्रतिष्ठा लास्ट रेस्ट हुनुहुन्थ्यो फर्स्टमा चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट पनि म आउट भएर सेकेन्डको चाहिँ मलाई यादै भएन
ए ल ल मैले उहाँकै रुममा पठाइदिएँ तपाईँलाई एक्सेप्ट गर्नु ल
सो सदीक्षा अहिले हामीले मेन्टिमिटर ट्राई गर्ने हो त तपाईँले बुझ्नुभयो है अघि स्लाइड चेन्ज गर्दै जानुपर्छ अनि पिपल विल आन्सर अनि यु क्यान गिभ 10 seconds per question.
हेलो हजुर विशाल सर सरी मेरो यहाँ इन्टरनेट अलिक स्लो भएर बुझ्न के भन्नुभएको
हजुर सरी यहाँ कलेजी र फेरि अर्को हुनुहुन्छ उहाँहरूलाई पठाइदिनु पर्ने होला
हेलो हेलो गरिमा जी
सरी मेरो बेबी सिटिङ ड्युटिज पनि छ आज गरिमाजी र हाम्रो कणेलजीको पनि एकचोटि साइन गरिदिएपछि मैले भनेको चाहिँ मेन्टिमिटरको तपाईँको स्लाइड इच क्वेसनको लागि मात्रै पोलिङ गर्न मिल्छ होला त्यसले अपडेट चाहिँ लाइभ दिन्छ होइन एकचोटि स्क्यान गरेपछि त्यो भित्र आयो त्यसपछि सिरिज चाहिँ तपाईँले लिड गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ त्यो त्यो गरेर ज्योतिलाई चाहिँ इच लाइभ पोलको रिजल्ट चाहिँ स्क्रिनसट गरिराख्यो भने सजिलो नै हुन्छ तर त्यो ब्याक एन्डमा पनि बस्छ होला होइन
हजुर
इनाजी पनि एकजना भयो
हेलो प्रशान्त जी इना जी
यसमा गर न बाबा यसमा चढिरहेको छ त यसमा
हेलो
हेलो हजुर
हेलो
हजुर प्रशान्त जी तपाईँ कुन रुममा हुनुहुन्थ्यो
हजुर सुनिराख्नु भएको छ
हजुर हजुर सुनिरहेको छु
हजुर म भन्नु
हजुर तपाईँ
साउन्ड क्लियर आएको थिएन
हजुर तपाईँको नेटवर्कको के नेटवर्क इन्टरनेटको प्रब्लम भयो कि हामीले चाहिँ क्लियरली सुनिरहेको छौँ तपाईँको आवाज क्लियर आएको छैन
हेलो अहिले सुनिरहेछ
हजुर सुनिरहेछ तपाईँ कसको रुममा हुनुहुन्थ्यो
हजुर भन्नु त
हजुर तपाईँ कसको रुममा हुनुहुन्थ्यो कुन चाहिँ मेन्टरको रुममा
म अघि कसमा थियो मेरो फेरि बिचमै नेट गयो कि त्यही भएर म फेरि इन्गेजमेन्ट गर्दै थिएँ नेट आउनु जाने भएर
हजुर हुन्छ हाम्रो सोसियल मैनाली भन्ने म्याटर हुन्छ मैले भएकोमा तपाईँलाई रिक्वेस्ट पठाएको छु ल
हजुर
हेलो कृति सर हजुरको सकेको हो त सेसन ब्रेकआउट रुममा हजुर म्युटमा हुनुहुन्छ सर
हजुर म्याम भन्नुहोस्
हजुरको उता सेसन सकेको हो सर
सकिएको हो होइन मेरोमा हामी 5 जना छौँ 5 जना थियौँ भन्नु
हजुर हामी एकछिन 5 मोर मिनट्स गरौँ न अरूको सेसन
हस् 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 हस्
हामीले राम्ररी कुरा पनि पाएन
कुरा गर्दा गर्दै बिचमा काटेर हामी बाहिर पुग्यौँ जस्तो लाग्यो
यो ठ्याक्कै टाइम उसले तर ठिकै छ यो आफ्नो ग्रुपमा कुरा भइहाल्यो होला होइन सो खालि यो कम्युनिकेसनको कुरा चाहिँ मैले गर्नु पाएन मेरो ग्रुपमा सो म यहाँ ग्रुपको साथीहरूलाई सम्झना होला नि म भएको म मेरो नम्बर यहाँ हालिदिन्छु सो वी क्यान टक अन द वाट्सएप है हुन्छ निश्चलजी
Okay, so हामी अब हाम्रो लास्ट एन्ड भागमै पुगिसकेका छौँ. So we are at the end of today's session. We hope the breakout rooms were helpful in connecting with peers, people who are on this journey with you, including your mentors and facilitators. So I will now ask Sadiksha to maybe come up. We wanted to poll everyone while we have you. So Sadiksha, would you like to share your screen? And so yeah, we if you can, if you're joining from phone, this might be difficult, but if you can scan this QR code, you will be taken to a web page that has questions. And once you're there, we will start polling and you can submit your answers and we'll capture the scores live. So we'll probably have around 10-20 seconds per question. So we'll give you just about a minute to all scan and then be ready. Hopefully everyone can participate. If you're having difficulties, just let us know in the chat. So let's give it another few moments. Okay, if you're on your phone, that's fine. Sadiksha, I think we should move forward. If we can go to the first question. So I think this was just the answer from before. You should have now a new question on the same portal. Was this session helpful in clarifying background goals and objectives of the In Our Hands program? Please submit your answers. We'll give it a few more seconds. Okay. Thank you. I think we do have good participation. Let's okay, more people. Next question, Sadiksha, if you want to move forward.
Yeah, we're still receiving answers. So
Does everyone need to? Okay. How relevant are the partners and facilitators profiled today for your professional and personal goals? So you met and learned who you will be working with, who you'll be interacting with, and be mentored by. So please. So this is anonymous. So to be honest, I think this also helps us improve things for you, your experience, if during your journey with us. We have, I think, 6, 7 more questions. So if you're facing problems, there is a different way to join. You can go to menti.com and use the code 2217715. Hope that's helpful. Let's now go to the next question, I think. So after today's session, are you more familiar with the concept of creative green economy? Okay. Moving forward. Where the program timeline and approach is clearly outlined. Next, Sadiksha, I think we're getting average of 38 responses. Were the registration instructions for the Craft Toolkit clear to you? I think for those who are saying they're not clear on the registration instructions, it's a fairly easy site. If you go and register, you can also use it in Nepali. So just wanted to mention that with this question. Moving on, Sadiksha, next. So did you find the sessions interactive? Especially with the breakout sessions, did it allow for meaningful engagement with others? Okay, and then next, I think these are now the final questions. We do have two more. So one of the reasons we preferred doing a live poll over sending a feedback form is that often there is very limited responses to feedback forms sent after the engagement, particularly when you're doing it digitally. So this is very helpful, just collecting almost numerical data. If you want to give us suggestions, feedback, then a good way is to write to us. So we've been receiving emails from Sadiksha, who is the contact point that you can use for any questions, queries as well. Sadiksha, I think we can move forward as well with the last two questions. And after that, we're done. Yeah, do let us know over email. Anything that is helpful, and your participation in the survey is also very much appreciated. So I'm not sure if this question is getting responses. Okay. That brings us almost to a close. Any final thoughts on partners? Any parting thoughts?
Two things. One, if someone is missing in the breakout sessions, I think the Prakash is miss on any breakout sessions. Prakash Karka. So if somebody is missed to engage in the breakout sessions, please let me know. So we can talk to you and make one of the group in the one of the group. Second is the next sessions will be in next Thursday, 3 p.m. So 3 to 5 p.m. So we'll send you detail through email. And another thing is, so we design it in a way that you can communicate with your mentors throughout the week. It doesn't mean that anytime, but you can, if you have any issues, any clarity, you can talk to them. Yeah, that is from my side, Nishal.
Hi, Sadiksha. I think we can go to the last question if there is another question remaining. Otherwise, yeah, so joining instructions. So we did send joining instructions. Hopefully they were clear and accessible. Please rate this final question. From my end, thank you for the session today. So we will be sending the recording of the session to everyone, and we'll include by early next week, you'll also receive an update on the next session, its lesson plan, and what modules will be covered. So you have all the full details. As Soroji has already mentioned, there will be other ways of communicating with your mentors, and also you can directly reach out to Sadiksha as well. We're very excited to work with you. And one thing we'd like to do also, we'll try to put together ahead of next session is circulating everyone's short biography and their summary of idea if they've submitted one. So we'll try to share that as well. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the partners. And yes, have a good evening and a good day in the UK.
So Nishal, are we staying for some time?
Yes, partners, facilitators, please stay back.
There are a couple of questions on the chat if you want to address that quickly.
Oh, yes. So do we need to complete any section of the Craft Toolkit before our next session? Helen?
I'm just typing my response. Essentially, it says, no, but get familiar with it, and also, as I said, it can generate more questions than answers, but then you can go to your next session with the questions in your mind and work with the people around you to come up with the answers. So the more you put in, the more you'll take away. So we're not asking you to do it as homework, but if you want to get to know the toolkit, ask yourself some questions about your idea. Maybe you're avoiding these questions, maybe you don't know the answers, then go and do it. No one's stopping you. But your next session, it will be useful to take more questions with you. And then you're in a space for 2 hours where hopefully you're concentrating on the session, you're concentrating on your idea. Use that time as efficiently and effectively as you can. Go further.
Okay.
And the other question was what we'll be doing in our next session. So the next session will be about design thinking. So it's all about the design thinking process. We'll acquaint you with the process, which will help you even if you have ideas, just to clarify and dig deeper into your ideas and everything that's around it.
So we will try to send a more detailed schedule of event for the next session as well, and include this bit on familiarizing yourself with the Craft Toolkit. As Helen has rightly pointed out, it's really voluntary. What you put in is what you get out. So you can definitely start exploring and experimenting with the toolkit. Other than that, I hope there are any other questions. Priyanka, I think we've answered that as well with the Craft Toolkit. Okay, no more questions. Participants, thank you so much for joining us.
Gopalji, who is your mentor? So I think we already keep the numbers before. Can you check in the chat box?
Also, some people still didn't have their name up. So Huawei Y5 Lite.
I think she's Garisma. She's in my side.
So if you can
let
us know who you are. If your name was not on the participant list, if you have a different name, please put it in the chat before you leave. But yeah, thank you everyone, and you can now leave.
Prashanji, we will communicate back to you. So don't worry about that. So you are able to attend the next session.
We still have a lot of people slowly moving. I think if everyone can help us remove some of the participants, that might be faster. There is a report to Zoom which we need to untick, but yeah. That's about it. We have mentors as okay. So quickly session ko यसो एनालिटिक्स हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ त्यो डेटा त छँदैछ sorry I forgot Helen.
Please converse in Nepali and you can let me know what's essential. Please.
So basically so that poll will be helpful as well. We need to probably email the recording by tomorrow, but hopefully early next week we can wait till Monday to send out update on the next session. Looks of it, we had around at the start of it around 75 people in there. Some of them might have been from the same team, but around that number, aside from all of us, the teams, there was some drop-off rate, but I feel like that was expected. We'll really know in the next session. But hopefully the breakout sessions were good. I don't know I didn't go into the breakout sessions, so maybe we can quickly reflect on everything overall. Quickly, and then maybe focus on next steps and any actions. Anyone wants to go? Maybe talk about the breakout rooms as well.
Breakout sessions, we didn't really have a lot of time. I think we could have spent a lot more time during the breakout sessions. But on that, are we going to have a reshuffle based on the types of projects or what kind of support individual projects need, or how are we identifying that? Because I think some of the projects were relevant to me, some were a little bit off my subject area. So, but I guess we will have to, some of us will have to take some projects that are outside our areas as well.
How is this been arranged? I mean, is it been, are we being put together randomly, or how do you select?
First time around, it was more random. So we said that in the second session, we'll try to group together according to particular, markers. So in that sense, this time I think we can do Go Fish, where you offer the projects that you might not be sure about to the pool, and everyone could do that, and that could help us improve the groups for the next round, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did we hear everybody's? I think they said there were 9, but I heard only 6 of them talking. So I don't know whether we missed the 3 or.
2 of the participants in our group, Rosha ma'am, were from the same project, so that's why I skipped one of them. But I think we had 7. Yeah.
And we're probably still missing a few people who wanted to come, but owing to whatever circumstances, they could not attend today. So that's something we'll have to manage in the second session as well. If they arrive, then we figure out where they fall in. We've noted all the names, as many of those that were on the participant list. Sadiksha has that. We'll look at our original list of invitees and try to see who didn't attend and find out why as well. But yeah, if with the groups to refine, maybe each one of you can say, okay, so there is this project which I don't think is relevant. We can just use email threads to figure out where they would be better placed.
I think we can use the same Google Doc, the applicant doc, to do a review kind of things. Like I have 6 of them in my group. So as we discussed in the last meeting, that we identify their field. Like one is from farming, so one is from plastic waste kind of thing. So it's already categorized while they apply, but I'm able to categorize their field, basin field, and even the base of the stage where they are. Some people have only an idea. Some people have already have their prototype. They are trying to do it. Some of are supported by some grant. Already they have some kind of grant and other things. So I listed on that way. So if everybody can put that ways, I think that's one way to do it. Another is we need an immediate group and mentor name in one place. For example, I have 6 people. Okay, I'll take care of the 6 people for next week. or further communications kind of thing. So how we can do that on this stage. Later on by week, so we can make a reshuffling of the team based on the thematic area. Because for the first stage, we are not giving a lot of input on their theme. We are trying to give them the navigations on the craft toolkits, listening to them. So anyone can do it. So at least for this week, we need a number of name idea of the people and the mentor. So if we can make like we have a nine group today. So if we can make it a 9 separate group for this week.
If British Council can do that, that will be easier for us to figure out now how we can go ahead with it.
Rusadi, you are
if somebody who we cannot mentor, then we can actually ask the other group to then take it over and we could reshuffle it.
Yeah,
that will be good.
Yeah, that we can done by the next week sessions. But for now, we just have an introductions with each of them. So if we can have who are in our group, like for example, who are in my group, who are on your group, so that in the next round we can reshuffle with the based on their thematic area.
Okay, I have the whole list of participants. So I can do that. I'll share the list.
Okay.
So what you need to do is you need to send, like, for example, for me and this Dibesh, you need to send our list of participants list for us so that we can go through it. Maybe I could talk together and figure it out what works for us.
Okay.
Okay.
And another things that I realized that I and Disha was also discussing the last conversation that we need to have clear instructions for the breakout sessions so that every mentor can follow that instructions. Like step 1, we'll do introduction, everyone's kind of thing. So if we can have that instructions before the sessions for all the mentors, for example, for the next sessions will be run by the Seb and the team, then if he can give us a basic instructions. It doesn't need to be a very detailed, so we can do in our way, but at least we have to follow these 4 or 5 steps so that everyone have to go through the same process.
Yeah, sort of like what we used to have as our breakout room activities in our previous installments. So we have a clear idea about what the mentors are helping the participants do during the breakout sessions.
So would that be, Dishev, as you're thinking that, say, like when you're doing the design thinking, that you would set, kind of say, right, you're all going here, do this, rather than us centralizing it, so I would do this. Yeah. So a clear instruction to say, right, we've run through this, go together and go here. Yeah. Okay.
So that, like, if anyone has questions, it will be easier to distribute the questions amongst the mentors in individual groups, rather than waiting for your turn in the entire big group.
Okay, but that questions or the answer need to be known by the mentors, right?
Not particularly. It'll be something more in tune with just sharing your ideas with the entire group, so that the mentor does not need to take the responsibility of having the answers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we think back to the Craft Toolkit training where Carol was talking about, and she was saying like what is a good mentor, it's like that idea of trying to give the mentors the permission to kind of go, okay, so how could you do that? You have this question, where do you think the solution could be? But like you say, Dishev, maybe it's more of a safe space where you can kind of go, I'm not sure about this, or and maybe it's not, because I was thinking with some of the stuff I did with the breakout groups before was said go into the toolkit, but I think it's a waste of time. It's kind of like, so what, use the time to like you say, to explore a particular question, or to kind of throw something around a bit where the mentor knows maybe as much or as little as the participants, but together they can share maybe a concern or an idea or a contact or something. Yeah.
So anything else that we need to discuss? Otherwise, if Sadiksha can be the person who can coordinate and collate information together in a format to send out, and but if we can target to send, our next session will be on what day? So Thursday, next Thursday, so 5th of October. So if it's Thursday, then if we can send out an email by Monday afternoon, that would be great. So the information we need, just like the joining instructions, I think we gave a schedule of events. So just a table saying this is what will be covered is enough, I think, for now. And then we can try to. So yeah, that's I think in the Google Drive, so we can use that. One thing I wanted to bring up is sort of monitoring with the Craft Toolkit, and also collecting information. When do we do that? When do we start collect feedback? I think the poll was important for the next session as well. I feel like the lead trainer could engage them in a discussion or a poll if mentee looked like something that was fun. Maybe less questions, but we can also help set up mentimeters for you for the next session if that is something that you'd like to do. But that would help us create more data around all of this. But with the Craft Toolkit, so Helen, Saurabji, how do we capture? So what do we think we need to know? Because this is, at least in South Asia, it's the first time, there's a number of users from a particular geographic location using the Craft Toolkit, hopefully. So that user knowledge will be quite good. I know we've already done some reflection after the TOT separately. But yeah, if you can share what you're thinking, Sadiksha and I will support on that. But yeah, if we know exactly how we want to evaluate and when we should evaluate this first phase, at least.
As we have designed this with the research pitch will be the one of these selections process, as I understand before, and we can also go through their business plan when end of the 5th week. That business plan probably it will be ready. So why I'm saying probably, because it's based on their input on their one account and one idea, how much they are able to work on it. So the idea is that we correlate with the sessions and the Craft Toolkits. Like for example, the DCFZ doing these sessions in the next week, so they are more clear about how they can give an input on the specific sections of the Craft Toolkits, and then it will be enriched on their data and the content. But for the move into the next steps, like for the research grant, this business plan maybe doesn't require their business plan to pitch for the research, right? For the research, they have a specific research idea based on their idea.
I think if I'm understanding correctly, what you're asking, Nishal, is, and what Sarah is saying, is if we as the individuals leading each of the sessions kind of point people in the direction of like where they can put their thinking from the session into the Craft Toolkit, then I think this is the positive thing. Like, so for example, I put it in the chat. So I think if Deshev's session on design thinking is the same or similar to last year, then it's about product and service development. So it pushes people into exercise 2A, I think it was 2A or 2B, can't remember, and 5B.
Yeah.
So if that prompts people to go in and to access and to use, then it will help them understand where the gaps are. So I think even if we don't suggest right now you complete exercise X, it's about saying, like, with the knowledge that you have, you can explore this further here. You can take things from your breakout sessions. And I can pass all this on to Inga and Lynn as well. And then I think in terms of the business plan from the Craft Toolkit, as Saurav said, and as I highlighted, a few months ago, is that the business plan doesn't capture everything because some of the activity is offline. So I feel that the business plan can be the evidence that underpins maybe the pitch that they make with the idea, if you see what I mean. It's a point where we can test whether the pitch, has rigor or substance or has been thought through in terms of in a short space of time, I want to go here. And then as the mentors, as those that are supporting them, we can understand that they're that, like I say, they've been rigorous in terms of, and they've got potential to then push it forward. Sorry, Nisha.
Nishal?
Hi, sorry, my internet electricity cut out again. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So it is working for this will lead to certain outputs which can show quality and be actually documented. But in terms of the craft toolkit itself, when do we reflect? How do we collect feedback? How is it going on the craft toolkit? What would you improve about the craft toolkit? I think it's a good opportunity to ask that question with user types people. So that's what I was asking.
Are you asking the question relevant to the program, Nishal, or to the overall Craft Toolkit independent of the program?
No, this is Craft Toolkit independent of the program, because I think what it will help us do is create sort of start thinking about how it can also be improved or better embedded. So basically, I think not independent fully, but you're still treating the Craft Toolkit as a thing on its own, while because these users will be using it both in the sense of participating in. It could be before the research grant pitch, makes sense. But yeah, I was just asking if we need anything before that. But I think if we survey all of the active users at the end around the Craft Toolkit, that would be a good time to do.
Yeah, we can do the survey. That could be on the first week of the November, because after that we will be going to focus on the research preparations. Second week of the November. Festivals on from the festivals, they are almost survey, mentee, or anything to focus on the craft toolkits. And the next, I also want to highlight that in each sessions, while we are doing a breakout sessions, we can do the mentor to focus on the their activities or exercise based on the craft toolkits. Otherwise, if we are saying that this is the optional, this is fine, if you are not able to do so, they might not be interested to engage on that. So because we are trying to make it a craft toolkit as an experimental approach on this time, so it will be nice to after every sessions we to feel based on these today's sessions on this week, you can write or this section or that section for that particular section of the craft toolkit. Helen can add on this, but otherwise, so yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say my light went out, so they won't be internet within few seconds. I have to go. This is going to be cut off totally. So it's been about 15 minutes now. So whatever there is, you can send me by email.
Electricity has been bad today.
Yeah, it's a bad day today. Sorry, I have to leave now. It's going to go out. Yeah.
I just said in the chat based on what
If
yeah, or we can align with the sections like design thinking is the session for the next week, and we can say that on the craft toolkits you have these sections you can go through on it based on these sessions. That will be very, very focused to them. So I'm not trying to much guide it on the craft toolkit, but because we are doing this is a very interesting opportunity that there is a craft toolkit and we have a guided sessions, right? So if we can align with the sessions and the sex data or maximum repository on the craft toolkits. Doing this in the field of November makes sense. Yeah.
Sorry, my connection's really bad, but that covers my point. So I'll work with, we'll also send out an email just noting some of the things we discussed right now. But yeah, thank you. If there's no further, then we can close for the day.
So the chair, can we have a pre-planning meeting on Tuesday sometime? So that, yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, Tuesday was long. Okay.
We short like a half an hour, but yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So the second making the. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.